Hey guys, this is Cerebellum, and today we're taking a look at a ranked all-pick game. So I'm gonna be looking. Later we're gonna look at Dwoitta's Tidehunter here. I don't remember what lane he's gonna be, but I figured it would be a nice change of pace. Just take a look at the picks here, the picking phase. So there we go. First pick for the Dire side will be a Slug followed by a Juggernaut really fast. So let's just talk about that. Yeah, the picks here are really fast. So people have pretty much decided what they want to play and then didn't go into it. By the way, I have no idea what kind of rank the Dwoitta is. A lot of the guys who send in replays don't tell me that, so I just kind of sometimes I look at the Dota buff, try to figure out what they are, but it's it's hard to figure out. Okay, so Slug first pick. Slug can be countered. Not like a super hard counter like most of the illusion heroes have pretty hard counters. Like if you're gonna play a PL, then an Earthshaker counter would be really scary. But the Slug here, you could pick like a. If I was to counter pick a Slug, I could pick like a Bat Rider or maybe a Bloodseeker. I don't know how good the new Bloodseeker is against Slug, but the old one was pretty good. So I wouldn't pick a Slug first. I would hang back with the Slug. I would pick Tidehunter first pick is pretty good. Most support first picks are pretty good. But just get a few picks down so your opponents don't have that easy of a time just counter picking you. I know you have a lane you want. I know you want to just pick your hero so you don't have your teammates taking up the lane you want or taking the really greedy heroes before you pick yours or something like that. But you just risk getting counter picked really a lot. So I like the Tidehunter pick. I don't like these two picks so much right off the bat. I think if you want to play these heroes, you should hang back a little bit, see if it's a good idea. Both of these pretty semi-carry. Okay, they are carries, but they are not the hardest carry. It isn't either or. It's kind of a gliding thing and a matchup thing. So I think the Juggernaut isn't that great of a matchup against Slug. Slug has a number of ways to evade his damage, and yeah, the Juggernaut isn't super tanky. So I think the Slug is better here. So. But ironically, the Juggernaut got picked after, so. With neither of these being super hard carries, I could see the Dire side going a bit greedy, because the Juggernaut pretty much normally is a hard carry. So he's good in the early and mid game, but he's just sort of he just isn't as hard of a late game carry as like a Spectre or an Anti-Mage or some proper hard carry, So that's sort of the repercussion. That's the price of just locking down your hero like that. Let's get the next few picks in. It's lagging a lot on this picking screen for some reason. I did shut down a few programs to try and get the frame rate up here, but we'll take what we can get. It is lagging quite a lot. I have the what? Oh, we aren't actually accelerated. Did it change that again? Sometimes it changes that for no good reason. I haven't changed my hotkeys at all, but yeah. No, they're still on. I think maybe it's just because we're in this phase I can't. That could be it. There we are, some picks. So they pick up a Sand King. Again, I like support pickups here. Sand King, for just an all-pick game, very rarely do you see aggro tries or something like that. So I like the Sand King. It's very, very good support in general. Really good. The Rubik, I think, is a little bit more of a situational pick. There needs to be good stuff for him to steal. But, if you're good Rubik, it's fine. Pick it up. There's some stuff to steal here, like even just the Epicenter and the Almost Slash are pretty decent abilities. Or the Blade Fury. Pretty good abilities to steal. Barrow Strike, same thing. So it isn't gonna be a horrible Rubik game, most likely, but it isn't going to be ideal either, and I still can't use my hotkey to fast forward here. So we have a good idea of what this team's game is going to be like, very mid-game oriented. Alright, some very metagaming picks coming in here, or the Death Prophet is very metagaming. The Storm is actually not very metagaming at all. In the sense that he isn't popular at the moment in the pro scene at all. Of course, that has a limited bearing on the way Pops look. I think Death Prophet's rise in Pops is definitely due to her prominence in TI4, for instance, but and this guy as well, probably my favorite hero, Jakiro, very popular at the moment. EG run him as a hard carry, and a lot of teams are running him as a position 1, like the farming safe laner. So here we go. Okay, we have the finished teams, and this is looking like it's gonna be an absolutely slaughter in the mid game. This team, I would say, has no choice but to fight at all. Like, they have to fight pretty much, or they will most likely lose. Tusk is a very momentum-based hero. I think he is very good early, and with a lead he can snowball. No pun intended, because he does have snowball. But yeah, he's very good if he gets to that. If he doesn't, he's just sort of, there's a reason he hasn't picked a ton in the pro scene. He's also an awkward laner. The lanes are gonna be pretty awkward, I think. They don't have a good off lane, in my opinion. They'd probably end up laning this, in which case whoever's gonna be laning with the Sand King is gonna be worse off. Jakira has a really good harassment, but the Sand King, obviously being melee, having no harassment abilities really, if it's like a Juggernaut Sand King lane, that's two melees. And if Tusk is also melee, so it's gonna be two melees, they're gonna have a hard time, especially since we have a Venge and a Rubik over here. Both of the supports on the other side have a ranged attack, so immediately that looks like the laning stage might be tough for the Radiant. But they're pretty much gonna have to fight. All of their characters are good for it. In the mid game, certainly they're gonna have a really scary lineup. Like a Tusk initiation with a Storm Spirit can just jump in if the Juggernaut goes for an Ag MC, can just solo pick off heroes. The Jakiro can put a lot of pressure on towers, and they have really good, they can punish 5-man strategies really well with the Sand King. Like if they try to 5-man push down a tower, the Sand King can just set up a really easy Burrow Strike Epicenter. Or of course, if he gets his Blink Dagger at a reasonable timing, that'll just enhance that a lot. So I like this lineup, but I think it's very dependent on succeeding in the mid game. The enemy team here, the Dire, which is the one we're going to be looking at mostly because the Tidehunters there is, I think they have the better carries here with just these two characters. The Death Prophet is actually really good at late game. They have a lot of burst damage over here, so I think she's gonna have not that easy of a time, but still I think the Slug and Death Prophet is gonna have the edge on these characters late game. As well as Rubik being quite good late game. Venge is also pretty good late game, especially if it goes like super late game, you can get some items. Tidehunter is kind of just, it's sort of the odd man out here. He's kind of a very team fight oriented hero, though their team fight is almost certainly worse than the Radiant team here. So I would think the Slark would be creating space. They can claim towers with the Death Prophet, kind of like the Radiant can with the Jakiro. And they do have some very good roaming and harassing support, so their laning stage should be good. And yeah, I think it just comes down to how much this team, the Radiant team, can make happen in the early stages of the game. Because if this team gets just to have it their way, I think they run away with it. I think the Slark has the best raw right click of the bunch, and I think the Death Prophet is just a powerhouse once she gets a few items up or just gets levels in the mid game with the Exorcism. Even still with the nerf, it should still be pretty good. Her laning stage will be a bit worse. She did get nerfed in the last patch 6.82C. C, yeah. So her Crypt Swarm damage isn't that good anymore. Level 1 75 damage, that's quite low. So it'll be hard to last hit with it. It's pretty much in her harassment. In the mid lane, probably against this Storm Spirit, will be quite a lot lower. Yeah. Oh, they could actually run the Storm off lane here. They could run the Storm off lane and mid the Tusk. That would be interesting. Though I think Tusk is not a great matchup against the Death Prophet, but we'll see. So we need to load the heroes here. That'll take a toll on our frame rate. And
prepare for battle.
Looks like we've loaded. Sorry about that, but yeah. So Tidehunter bought the courier. He's gonna go for 300 branches, set of tangos, a clarity. He's gonna look to get a magic wand. I've been talking a lot about magic wands these days. He's actually gonna pick up the recipe right away. So this, he's just looking to pick this up from the side shop. You can't get the magic from the side shop. He's gonna actually sell the recipe again to carry a ward. So that's pretty good. I think probably this guy. isn't the lowest level. I wouldn't expect a lower tier player to know that you can get the magic stick out there and just have the recipe with you from the start, because that's quite a special thing to know. These are pretty reasonable items to go for. I don't like the as usual. I don't like going for the magic wand right away. I think it's bad, but you know, it's not. Stats are nice, but yeah, I don't know. And I certainly don't like. Okay, so this is probably like the first skill point. He's gonna be a solo offlane Tidehunter, by the way, which is another thing. They can actually run a tri-lane, which they probably cannot here unless they solo the Storm. Which looks like no, they're not gonna. They're gonna run a Storm, Sand King offlane. They're gonna no. The Storm is mid. Sorry, that was the what? Okay, so it's Tusk Sand King offlane, and it's gonna be the Jakiro and the Juggernaut here in the safe lane. This is pretty good for Tidehunter, honestly. He's not gonna take too much harassment damage here, and he's depends how much the Blade Fury can do to him. But I think this Gush is probably the worst level 1 spell for him. And the reason for this is a ranged nuke slow. Pretty good. It also reduces armor. Great. It's a good ability by all means, but the reason why you see the other two skills taken is that you can basically just forgo the Stout Shield, which is usually like mandatory for these melee solo laners, or just melee cores in general. Because he actually gets a block that doesn't stack with it. He gets a Kraken Shell. So level 1 you get 10 damage, everything that comes in, right clicks comes in, 10 damage off it, and you have a purge that gets used every time you take a certain amount of damage. So level 1 it's not great, but if you can put a lot of levels in it by level like 7, if you can max it out by level 7, that's a lot of damage you're taking off. That's basically a Vanguard with a self-purging effect you're getting there. A Vanguard turn block that, or well, actually better than a Vanguard, because it's for the damage of everything instead of for the damage of 80% of things. So it's quite a good block, and especially the Purge makes you quite hard to kill. I don't think the Jakiro and the Juggernaut should be able to kill you in lane, and probably like 90% sure the first point should go in Anchor Smash. The reason for this is, especially when you're up against the melee, you can harass them very efficiently. It's 75 physical damage, it's pretty decent to grab last hits with, it is a very fast animation, and you actually reduce whoever, like the enemy heroes, get their damage reduced from it, and it's quite a heavy reduction. Like it's 45% scaling up to 60%, so this will make you very, very, very hard to kill. Whereas what you can do with this Gush is basically pay a lot of mana. Like this is only 30 mana for level 1. With Gush it's 120 mana, like you can cast Gush twice on your base mana pool and that's it. And it's only like 110 damage, it's not a lot. And you know, then you just sort of, you know, spent. And you can really not do a lot with this. Like if the Juggernaut spins you, like Blade Furies you, he's magic immune anyway, so you can't use this on him. And you know, the Jakiro will be out of range, so I don't really know why this is the level 1. The only reason you would take this as level 1 is if you're fighting level 1, like a team fight, and you're looking for a gank or something. You would do this because it is your only like disable ability. It's a 4-second, 40% slow, so that's pretty good. It's a pretty good ability to have 1 level in, but I don't think it should be the level 1 skill. Yeah, hopefully that makes it pretty clear why I think this is a mistake. So unfortunately he's stuck with the best harasser on the enemy team, which is Jakiro. We'll see what he's spec. He's spec Ice Path, okay. So I think that's a pretty good level 1 spec. That's what I spec usually as Jakiro these days. Normally you spec 1 point of Ice Path and they get 2 points in Liquid Fire. And it's that Liquid Fire that really gives you a lot of harassment potential. So as a solo offlaner, this is something I'm seeing a lot of threads in Learn Dota 2 about, is how are you supposed to get farm? And unfortunately the answer is you're supposed to get minimal farm. If you're getting a lot of farm as a solo offlaner, it's in situations like this. The lane is absolutely pushed, they can't really dive you, and you should definitely not be tanking the creeps quite that much. So took too much damage from the creeps there, way too much. And now he got a magic wand, send it out to him. I think that's still not good at all. Like I really don't see what that's gonna do. So he got 1 last hit there. He could have gotten way more, but he also tanked the creep wave, lost most of his HP there, so that was a huge mistake. He could have probably gotten at least like 3 last hits, and you know, losing all of your, having to use most of your tangos just to get that is not good either. So that was one opportunity to get a lot of terrible lot of farm there. Very nice Anchor Smash there, level 2 Anchor Smash. I like leveling this up heavily because the damage scales very well, so you can use it very effectively here at level 2. Like 125 physical damage is a lot. You can definitely, you know, it's... I don't think they can deny you if you time it right. Missed that one. He's actually gotten 3 last hits so far. The Juggernaut's gotten 20, so 20 last hits at 4 minutes also tells me this isn't a very low level game. Like, no low level Juggernaut does that. That's a very, very typical differentiation between, you know, good players and less good players is how well they last hit, and this is quite good. Like in 4 minutes getting 22 last hits is pretty damn near optimal. So he only took 4 tangos in lane. Sometimes when I'm offlaning and I'm solo offlaning and I'm expecting to take a lot of harass, I will take 8 and a healing salve. So he's just gonna take one set of tangos. He's making a lot of use of the courier here. He does buy the flying courier. I don't think he needed to buy the flying courier, but I think, you know, and I think setting out the salve here is pretty greedy. Like, normally you would expect the mid to want to bring out their bottle around this time, but it doesn't look like anyone else wants to use it or haven't. That was a very weird gush. Let me just see what he was doing there. So, okay, so yeah, you can see that the Juggernaut barely felt that, and it was 120 mana. Like, it's more than 2 Anchor Smashes, and Anchor Smash is 175 damage now. So you could get, if you just go in range, like you could get a lot of damage with your Anchor Smash, but you don't really have the HP for it right now. You should definitely use that healing salve. So why? I mean, if you're too low to go in on the wave there, I think, you know, you are missing around 400 HP. Like, that is what it can heal. So I don't really see why you would not. But Jakiro makes a bit of a mistake there. Takes tower hits, which is never good. Now he's gonna pop that healing salve. Very nice. Basically go up to full life. Now he's free to go in. He's timing his Anchor Smashes quite badly. He's getting a bit impatient. Maybe he's prioritizing getting some harassment in on a Juggernaut. But I don't think that's really worth considering, since I don't think the Juggernaut will feel pressured out of lane here at any point. The awkward thing about bringing clarity into lane is it takes so long to make use of the clarity that, you know, in this case it's gonna be pretty useful. And the Venge actually got a bottle, so I didn't expect that, but the Venge has a bottle. Let's see what can make happen here. Jug's gonna just spin. They were a bit hesitant there. If they had just layered the stuns, if they just committed the Ravage there, I think we could have gotten him. So, like, just change the stuns. I mean, if we take a look at the Jug real fast, he isn't that tanky. 600 HP, 5 armor. For 7 minutes into the game, you know, the Tidehunter is very tanky. He's at 900 HP just with a magic wand. So, yeah, I think you could have gotten him. I think you could have pretty handily just killed him. Yeah. Now that ship has more or less sailed, or should at least have. So we'll see what happens. Oh. Very nice timed Blade Fury there from the Jug. There should be, if he actually had a little bit more mana, they could have killed the Juggernaut there. Of course, since it is physical damage, the Anchor Smash does penetrate the magic spell immunity. What's it called now? They just changed the name of it. Yeah, well, Blade Fury protects you from spells, but since it's physical damage, and well, Blade Fury protects you from magical damage, it doesn't protect you from physical damage, and Anchor Smash is physical damage. It's quite a lot of physical damage for the mana cost. It's 225 for 60 mana, so if he had just had a little bit more mana, he could have just killed the Juggernaut there as well. It would have been pretty big. Now the Juggernaut is free to finish up his boots. Is that, yeah, it is a Midas Juggernaut. I haven't seen that in quite a while, so that's interesting. We just had a bit of a skirmish up here. They're actually diving a Slark, which is very odd to me. Very, very odd. And our Tidehunter decides to TP on the action here. I don't know if I like the middle of the exorcism here, but they do get a kill on it, so it isn't the worst. Oh, she had a haste. Yeah, in that case it's pretty good. She can also go here and pressure the tower a little bit. They have the Tidehunter, they can pretty easily just kind of push this Storm Spirit out. I like the aggressive movement here from the Tidehunter. It's pretty good. The team are pretty decently ahead at the moment, even though the Juggernaut is by far hitting the best. It does have a Midas as well, so this Juggernaut has been doing really well so far. This slow might net them close enough to kill the Kiro, though that Macropire is actually really well placed. It's going to prevent them from really being very effective. Blade Fury, of course, isn't reduced at all by the Anchor Smash, so yeah, ended up taking a lot of damage from that. But he is super tanky, like already 1000 HP just with boots basically, and 3 strength, of course, from the magic wand, which I will make note of has done almost nothing so far. I don't think it's had more than 2 or 3 charges every time he's used it. In which case, I don't think it's worth it. He's maxing out his Anchor Smash first, and then his Kraken Shell second, which I think is pretty reasonable. Like the Anchor Smash is so useful, both offensively and defensively. So I can see why you'd want to.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So I think it's good he has a TP here, and he should look to just set up a kill with the Ravage whenever it's off cooldown. It's super easy to just use it as a ganking tool here in the sort of just past the laning stage. There we go. Didn't evade it this time. Kiro's gonna bite it, and the Juggernaut's gonna bite it. Since Rubik did a very nice steal. They even get the deny on the tower. So very nicely played. Very nicely played. A bit, yeah, you know, caught the enemies out of position there. Very good TP in from the Rubik. Also nice steal, of course. And you know, that's really what you want to do with a Ravage. You don't really want to look for like big team fights at this point in the game, but you can look for just, you know, small fights. Hit 1 or 2 targets with it. If it's an important target, it can be worth a Ravage in the early to mid game. There's the Storm. Doesn't really want to tangle with that. Storm probably can't kill him, but he probably can't kill the Storm. Certainly not prevent the Ravage either. His team's cleaning up the bottom though. Now, one nice thing about Anchor Smash, it does allow you to farm up the Ancients, because it is physical damage, and I believe it even gives them the debuff. Yeah, it does give them the debuff, so you become, like, see, he's not even taking pretty much any damage. Between the Kraken Shell, they do stack, you know, so the damage block paired with the fact that you can reduce their overall damage just means you're gonna be so tanky. It's pretty ridiculous. So they're all just hanging around here. One in that rune. There it is. Storm actually considered going in for steal there, though found 3 heroes, so he's probably gonna back out. But they're gonna walk right into 3 heroes here. I think this might be a mistake. They have Ravage though, and there's no silence on the enemy team. So unless it gets like jumped by a Storm or something, they can probably counter-initiate really effectively here. That's one thing to note about this this matchup hero-wise, is that there's no like big disable that can kind of go in, take out the Tidehunter, and take out that big disable, the Ravage. So when the Tidehunter's been doing well, and this Tidehunter's doing pretty well, he's, you know, he's scary in a game like this. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good initiation. The Sand King was ready for it though. Very nice to play. That's why, you know, you have to pay your respects to a hero like the Sand King. It's gonna net them almost a full team wipe here. Oh, okay, the Exorcism keeping the Death Prophet alive there. So yeah, let's just take a look at that one more time. This time from the perspective of the Sand King, I believe. See, he is in here. He's about to go away. He probably turns around. Yeah, turns around. They see the Tidehunter. There flies the Ravage. He's just gonna go forward. Channel his ultimate here. Blink, stun. He just sees the 2 squishies and got nukes them down. Instantly the team fights just turned. That's obviously a huge win for the Radiant team here. Very, very nice fight. Almost got the Death Prophet, but they were kind of a bit too low for that. Still well worth it. Yeah, 2,000 gold, more than 2,000 gold and 3,000 XP swing. Pretty much evened up the XP. and actually increase their gold lead, and that is mostly probably this Midas and superior farming from the Juggernaut. Sand King actually has 50 last hits. He's been jungling like crazy probably. So very nice. Also an indicator that, you know, these kind of farming values. This is very nice last hitting for 15 minutes from a Juggernaut who's been fighting as much as he has. This is very, very nice last hitting. So this Juggernaut is looking pretty scary. Unfortunately for Dwoitta, Dwoitta. He was just about closing on that Blink Dagger. It is 2,250 gold now, ever since 6.82, which is kind of nerfed the cost on him a little bit. It's gonna be a fight mid. He's gonna look to join it up. If they get some kills here, this is gonna be his Blink Dagger. You see the massive damage. Like for 60 mana, that Anchor Smash, so much damage on that Jakiro. It's completely ridiculous. But he is completely rushing this Blink Dagger. You can go for like a arcane boost first. Like if you want to spend a little bit more time farming, if it's a little bit more of a passive game, then I'd say definitely go for arcane boost. But if you think you need to fight ASAP and you haven't gotten a lot of last hits in lane, you know, just rushing with Blink Dagger can work. Like you do have a mana pool enough for just Ravage and a few other spells, like maybe Ravage and one Gush and one Anchor Smash, maybe two. And that's your spend. Dominating. So his team's kind of fighting up top. He does have 10 charges on his wand. That would allow him to TP in and Ravage. But he's just gonna passive farm up here. And yeah, the Death Prophet's gonna bite it up top. And that even spins up on the scoreboard. But of course the scoreboard, as I've been trying to point out a lot of the last few videos, isn't very representative of what's actually the state of the game. Because what's actually the state of the game right now is a pretty substantial lead here for the Dire. Radiant, sorry.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It always messes with my head that the Radiant graph is on top of the Dire graph when the Dire's on top of the Radiant. And yeah, all sorts of other weird things.
I thank you.
Yeah. Here we go, Juggernaut has his Aghanims. Let's just check out what farm this Juggernaut is, because it's pretty ridiculous. It's Midas, Phase Boost, Aghanims at 18 minutes. That's quite good. That is pretty scary. He has level 2 ultimate as well. That's not super surprising at 18 minutes, but it's... I wouldn't be looking forward to playing against this. The Rubik actually is super farmed as well for support Rubik. Arcane Boots, finished 4-staff and a Bracer. That's a lot for a support Rubik, so... the Slark's the one suffering, definitely, on the Dire side here. This Slark has been having a tough game. He needs way more than this at this point. He has basically no farm. So that's unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. We do see why. He's got about the same last hits as the Tidehunter. So that's, you know, that's not good for your safe game farm. That's not good at all. And the Juggernaut is nearly tripling the Slark in last hits, which, you know, quite good. Quite good. So far, you know, we've seen some mediocre last hitting from our Tidehunter player here, Dwoitta, with some very good choices of when to use Ravage. Okay, I say that, and then he uses a pretty questionable one right away. I think that was a bit premature. We are gonna see a bit of initiation here with the... Again, the Sand King with a very nice counter initiation here. We're gonna take a look at that one again. And I know this is supposed to be about the Tidehunter, but this was a very nice play from the Sand King here. So they know they're going in because they heard the Death Prophet ult go off. Jakiro, dual breath. It's actually the Macro Pyre, and followed by a very nicely timed Ice Path. So they just chained the stuns. They chained the Barrow Strike with the Ice Path, and just had them stand in a Macro Pyre all the while, and that's enough to just kinda kill all of them. But the Slark comes in now. He's gonna get some much needed farm by probably finishing off the Jakiro. Though everyone else on his team is gonna die in that engagement. So I think initiating there from the Tide was a bit premature. He was way too far forward. The range swapped him forward, and he kinda initiated when he was alone, which is almost never a great idea. Like sometimes you can, with your first Ravage, you can get a solo kill, sometimes, but it's quite rare. fight recap again. Huge swing. Yeah,
Dire's
3000
bottom
XP,
tower is under
about
attack.
2000 gold. Just short of 2000 gold, so... The Sand King is really good about using his abilities, though honestly it was kind of dumb to give them the opening to do that. It's rare that you see Macropie do so much work without a specific combo or like a Yules on the Jakiro.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I would not TP in on this Juggernaut. Not without a creep wave, certainly. He could just really just choose to ulti. Ah, very nice use. Very nice use there from the Death Prophet, and a stolen Omni Slash there from the Rubik. And force-stabbing forward from the Rubik as well, of course. Juggernaut. Juggernaut's abilities got changed in I believe it's the second to last major patch, like 6.81, to now you can use items during it. And we did see the Rubik there making use of that by using Force Staff during Breakthrough, just getting in range of that Juggernaut. Very nice kill. Juggernaut thought he could just go for an easy kill with his ultimate. With that Aghanim, he's probably very hungry to use that. But then the Death Prophet just counter initiates very nicely. And the Sand King now with an unfortunate epicenter, and that is, it's pretty tricky with that epicenter. He's been very good about using it so far, like the one we saw that just completely won his fight, his team fight before. So this time not gonna be as lucky. He was hoping they would dive in to save the Tusk or the Venge or whoever got caught in the jungle here, I forget, but he just kinda didn't make it. Now some more ancient farming. He is gonna get his arcane boost next. As I mentioned, you pretty much have to do this. Your mana pool isn't very great,
bottom tower
and you know you are using a good amount of mana with this Anchor Smash just to farm. There we go, coming in with a Ravage. Okay, amount of follow-up. I think that was a pretty decent Ravage. Rubik again, stolen the Storm ultimate there. No mana on this Tidehunter. He's just kind of a walking right click now. It's the enemy Tusk. Oh yeah, of course the Tusk is in the enemy team, so what I said before makes no sense. Yeah, he should probably just try and... Should probably have... When you have 2000 gold like that, you did miss out on like 300 gold. Maybe get a start on your Refresh Orb if you're going for that. In that case, just, you know, get it on... Just set your hero to go somewhere. If you know you're gonna die anyway, just go in and buy something. 300 gold isn't massive, but you know, if you could have had it slightly sooner, it would have been, you know. You could have had 300 gold worth of items.
Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant structures are fortified.
That's a dead Venge.
Radiant's bottom tower.
So a lot of aggression coming out here, and I'm actually thinking this is looking like quite a good level game in terms of micro skills. This Rubik certainly is impressing me a lot with his ability to manage these skills. So I would say this is actually a pretty high level game so far. Also, of course, the Juggernaut well exceeding 100 last hits per 20 minutes. It's a good indicator that, you know, that's my own, like, when I'm carrying and I'm having a really good game, I'll have like 100 last hits per 20 minutes.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Of course, it depends a lot on what hero you are. Hero doing a good amount of damage there with his Macropire before going out. I suppose that's not a bad way to use Macropire. It's got just a minute cooldown, and it's not that precious. It's the Sand King. Okay, the Death Prophet triggering the Exorcism here is really bad, to be honest. That was way early. It's just the Sand King. There's no reason to, like... They don't need help pushing the wave. Maybe they can take a tier 1 off it. I just think it was way early. She just probably got, like, weirded out by the Sand King. Probably thought they were gonna get going on. But at least it looks like they're gonna... No, they haven't reinforced me even. It's a good silence that will unveil the Sand King, but... Ah, the Rubik stole the... The Rubik's just stealing everything. It's pretty nice. Gonna force his way out. Trying to emulate the Sand King as much as possible. Double damage Tusk here. Yeah, double damage Tusk is no joke. Rubik not stealing anything for some reason. He could. Yeah. He's gonna die now. Oh, very nice 4-star.
Unstoppable.
Dire's Dire's top
So a
tower
pretty
is
chaotic
under
fight.
attack.
But well,
Dire's structures
you know,
are
the Death Prophet
fortified.
using her exorcism before that on pretty much nothing was really bad, and you know, it just sort of got worse and worse and worse from there. So the enemies were just kind of able to just go in. You had no really big team fighty stuff up. It's a lot on this exorcism, to be honest. It needs to be used in a good way, and they don't have any silence. They don't have much lockdown. They have the storm that's about it. And I think if the storm goes in, you know, you can just counter Ravage. Because either he's going in on the Tidehunter or he's going in on the DP. And if he isn't going in on the DP, you just Ravage, and then the DP is free to Exorcism. If the Exorcism is down, you're pretty much doing okay. Don't like that Ravage. That was a pretty bad Ravage. I think that Ravage served almost no purpose. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna... Oh, maybe. Yeah, they are gonna get the Sand King, but still... Yeah, easy. Yeah, you can still hit the Sand King with most AoE abilities will hit the Sand King if you just know he's in the center of the sandstorm. There was a bug with him being able to move during the sandstorm if you reactivate the sandstorm in the fade time from a sandstorm you're already channeling. Then you would be able to get a second one off.
You had your warnings.
Trying to land that anchor smash. He's well aware that he can just hit him. So he's actually going to go for Shadow's Guard after his Blink and his Arcane Boots, which is pretty standard. It's a little bit less greedy than the Refresher. So I think that's pretty good. They are very reliant on right-clickers this game, so the Shielders is going to be pretty good
Radiant's middle tower has
in you know, lowering the damage and, you know, slowing everyone around
Dire's bottom
you, doing a little
tower
bit of
is under
damage. And
attack.
of course the extra armor. It's very good on an already tanky hero, just getting that 10 extra armor.
Where's the party?
Pretty nice epicenter there. Not gonna be doing too much other than forcing them back to heal.
Haste.
Yeah. But the Anchor Smash, it does so much damage. It does deceptively much damage. If you can probably, like, it has a 4-second cooldown. It's very conceivable on
Radiant's
a hero
top
like
tower is
Tidehunter. It's
under
tempting to
attack.
ignore him after he throws down the Ravage. But then
Radiant's top
you
tower
can just
is
land
under
3 or
attack.
4 of these in a fight. Like that, it would only take you 12 seconds to trigger 3 of these in a fight, which is, you know, that's like 700 physical damage, which is pretty good. Of course, the Ravage itself does a good amount. So I think the Ravage there, the Ice Path kind of delayed the Ravage to the point where it wasn't really that good.
Dire's top
The
tower
enemies just
is
had too
under
much of a
attack.
chance to just walk away, and they just kind of did, whether or not they kind of thought about it or if they, you know, just were left.
Radiant's top tower is under it.
They still haven't pushed more than 2 towers, 30 minutes. Go. Yeah, not so weak here. Just kinda, you know, got caught out a little bit there. Get out there.
Has been killed.
So this fight is looking pretty bad for them. Ruby's gonna die. Pretty much everyone but the Slark I think died. And the Venge is down here. She's building weird stuff. It's good item choices overall, but
Dire's
it's a
top
little
tower
weird.
is under
So they're
attack.
basically just losing fights. They're getting caught out, and as I mentioned, this mid-game skirmish from the alien team
Dire's
is insane.
structures are
And we have
fortified.
fortunate enough to see some
Dire's
pretty
top
decently
tower is under
skilled
attack.
players, you know, executed here. See a lot of
Dire's
the
top
Sand King,
tower has
a lot of the
fallen.
potential in him, and the
Radiant's
Storm,
bottom tower
and the
is
Chikiro
under
doing
attack.
some very nice stuff as well.
Dire's middle
So-
tower is under attack.
I think also the Tusk, but honestly, I don't know Tusk super well. I don't know what
Dire's
really
middle
how hard it
tower
is
has
to do what
fallen.
he's doing. So the Venge is split
Radiant's
pushing, you know, if you can't
bottom
join a
tower is
fight
under
and you know all of them are in the fight, this is the best thing to do. Even if you're a support, you know, at least you can get some good farm. It's very hard to get farm as a support, and she's actually going to get a tier 2 tower in. Could have probably timed it so she would get the last hit, but it's still very good. She gets something in trade here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And honestly, the scariest thing here is that they're almost out of tier 2 towers. They're almost at just their base in terms of area they implicitly control. That's kind of the problem with the Dire right now, is that once the enemy starts sieging, they have Jakiro with that liquid fire, so they can just passively siege you. It's completely up to you, you need to initiate. They have the tools for it with the Tidehunter, and you know, they follow up with the Death Prophet in particular, but you know, it's really up to whether or not they can make that happen. They do have 2 armor reducing abilities. They have the Gush and the Wave of Terror from the Venge, 2 quite nice armor reducing abilities, especially the Wave of Terror, to work with the Death Prophet ult. So that's very nice. If they can coordinate that in team fights, the Death Prophet ult could get even scarier than it already is. And despite the nerf to its cooldown, it's still a pretty scary ability. I think the Death Prophet could have timed hers a bit better so far, but you know, it's still been decent.
I'll take that as tribute.
So they've kind of deduced the enemies are going to Roshan. Very nice Ravage. This should be a team wipe. All 4-man silence there, so good. They get the Juggernaut before he even gets off an ability. This is very nice. The Storm makes it out, but it doesn't really matter at this point. They have triggered the Death Prophet ult, and they can just kill the Roshan based on that. He's so low. They should honestly just kill the Roshan. Maybe just do a silence.
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
There's the Storm. He's gonna kill the Tidehunter, and then he's gonna make it out. It was a DD Storm. I mean, he's really scary.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Security gonna be caught out here. Yeah, I see what the Tidehunter was trying to do, but the Storm is just, you know, when you're at a quarter life, maybe not the smartest idea. I honestly thought the Storm would go for an Aegis steal there. Yeah, so they're gonna mob up to Jakiro. Not a lot you can do as a Jakiro there. The Venge kinda stuck with the Storm here. He's gonna die probably. I don't know how she got up there. The Storm is having the time of his life here. Of course, the Slark can't really tie down a Storm. Yeah, the Storm's a little bit too slippery for them. He's gone for Bloodstone, he's gone for Dagon. I don't think those are super good. I think an Orchid would be very nice for the Storm here this game, but he's gonna go for other stuff. And now he's out of mana, which means now they can kill him.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
They lose a tier 2, but you know, they got a lot of kills there. They got a lot of kills. So now things are looking a little bit closer. Especially since they have the edge late game, I still think. Overall, that's the Shivas for the Tidehunter. He does have a nice amount of farm if we switch this over to net worth. Yeah, even though he's pretty low here, that's still for 36 minutes. Like, I have had plenty of games where they did not have this as 36 minutes as Tidehunter. It's very easy to get into that situation, so quite nicely played from him overall thus far, I think.
I'll take that as tribute.
Tusk's just walking forward. I wonder why he's so eager to go forward here. They are just initiating right into this Death Prophet ult. I'm a little surprised by that. And they're probably gonna pay pretty heavily for that. There we are. Juggernaut's gonna come in now. Just die. Okay. Okay. So I think the lesson there is don't just kind of, when you have one teammate who just dies and you get the Death Prophet ult triggered, probably what you should do is just be happy that the Death Prophet ult is on cooldown now and get out, instead of just all dying to it and giving them a team fight and something to use that Death Prophet ult for. That was a pretty bad move. Honestly, a really bad move on the enemy's part there. Super big fight, like 6,000 gold, swing 8,000 experience. Really nice. Slark's actually gotten some farm now. Let's see what he's trying to do with it. He's got a Skadi. I like this choice here. It'll help him a lot against the burst damage, of which they have a substantial amount over here. He's up to 2100 HP now. It also gives you just good stats on general. 25 to everything, of course, will help pretty well on, and his otherwise pretty meh stat gain. And you know, the orb effect's quite nice for him as well. He's gone for Blink Dagger as well, hyper mobility on this hero. I did a Slark video not too long ago, and that's you know, one of the things to talk about that's really good on this hero. You get power threats because his attack speed isn't super good. He's got the ages right now, so he can afford to play a little bit more aggressively. I wouldn't mind seeing him going for even more stats with like a Sanjin Yasha with the next pickup. And though of course you could also just go for like a Mjolnir. Would be good, I think. Yeah. Of course, Mjolnir. It's a bit of a special unique attack modifier in that it's only when the Mjolnir triggers, and the same thing with the Mage. It's only when it triggers that it takes over the unique attack modifier. So with a Skadi, you still get the unique attack modifier from Skadi anytime you're not getting a Mjolnir proc. So that's pretty good. Now, there's so many enemy heroes down, they can kind of put pressure on the enemy tier 3, though they don't have the death prop at all, since it's just one in a team fight. And there's still the entire top lane of Rax to push, so I do not mind them going for that instead. Slark with some pretty decent reactions here, just not getting caught by that ice pass, which honestly he should not get caught by the ice pass.
Radiant's top tower.
They're gonna push in the top tower. Looks like they're gonna have that refresher up for the Tidehunter now. Very nice, very nice. The Sand King somehow dying there. I don't really get what he was doing there. Trying to... That is what I believe is kind of a YOLO play. A little bit of harassment here with the Tusk. And the Storm jumps in just to kill the creep wave. And that's gonna, you know, delay the push until this creep wave comes down here. The Tusk goes in. Tusk goes in. Gets silenced up. And there's the Juggernaut ult. They get stuck inside the Kiro ult. That's going to be the Juggernaut down. That's the Aegis pop on the Slark. The Rubik is dead to the Juggernaut. Q, nice follow-up there. Dagon used good effect there from the Storm. But still, this fight could have been much better for the Radiant team. I think they got a bit impatient then. I think the initiation from the Tusk could have been way better. The Tusk kind of just set himself up to get silenced by the DP. And I don't think that was optimal. And they do end up trading 4 for 2, which is not in their interest to see here. The enemy team is if anything behind still.
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's so even that, you know, these trade-offs, you can't just take trades like that when
Radiant's
you are not super far behind.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Of course, the combat goal has been nerfed a lot since it was introduced. I'm kind of, you know, it's kind of hard to talk about these videos because I've said so much about it that's turned out to be wrong now because it's been changed so much since then. So now it's much closer to what it was pre-patch, and it's much more tempered. It isn't like the swings aren't that big, and you know, just going for lineups that can always trade isn't as strong anymore. Like you can't just pick lineups that can always force at least a few kills in team fights and expect to be more or less even with the opponents. Since, you know, farm matters a lot more now. It's still more combat gold than it was pre-patch, but it's not as drastically more. So they kill off the Tusk again, Tusk and the Storm trying to make something happen here. And this is just, you know, a lot of item pickups, especially on the Death Prophet. We're probably gonna see her being very tanky now, yeah, 3.2k. And she's got a 22 Judge Bloodstone. Even if they kill her, she's gonna be back up again in no time. She's going for another Shiver's Guard, and that'll make her very scary indeed. Like, she'll be up at 20 armor, and she'll be... With the Exorcism going, she's almost unkillable. One thing they did trade here is they traded the Tusk off for a 2-minute cooldown, or a bit above 2-minute cooldown on the Exorcism. And that might actually be worth it at this point. Certainly if it was one of the supports like the Sand King for an Exorcism, I think would be actually pretty good. Juggernaut has double damage, and he is gonna make a really nice kill on the Death Prophet there. The Death Prophet thought she was safe with just the enormous tanking ability she had. Storm's gonna make use of the Death Prophet not being here. And that's the Sand King, forcing a kill on the Rubik. Tidehunter trying to do what he can without the Ravage. There's the Anchor Smash, still doing pretty decent damage. and the Storm just decides to suicide. You know, always an option when you have that Bloodstone. I don't know if it was necessary there. I don't honestly know it, because there's still this Juggernaut doing a lot of damage. Storm could honestly still have pretty good influence there. Maybe he was out of mana. I didn't see that. So without the Slark, but the Slark is here. Without better items on the Slark, it's limited what it can do, and the Tidehunter just decides to get out of the fight here, which I think is a pretty good idea, given that he was pretty low. So, yeah, pretty good trade actually for the enemy team. Just killing that Death Prophet, so huge. Yeah, really good. So really good out there from the Juggernaut, realizing the situation, having the double damage, and just being able to wreck. Really nice. Do have a butterfly on the Slark now. It's gonna help his attack speed a lot, and of course the evasion is nice and the damage is nice. He actually attacks pretty fast now if we go down to 1x speed. Yeah, that's a pretty good attack speed. You can also see it, he has 2 attacks a second. It's pretty good. He could go into a basher now. I think that would probably be my choice. Once you hit, you know, you need to be at least below like one or more than 1 attack a second before it really becomes worth it to get that basher, I think, at least. Sometimes the Abyssal Blade, just for that absolutely guaranteed stun, can be worth it for some heroes. But it's, you know... Oh, that's the multiple. Double Sheevis all the way in. And that's a lot of damage. Yuling a Storm might not, you know, maybe not the most productive thing. Like, if you could silence him, that would be great, but using... He's, you know, if he's got mana, he's just gonna jump away. I don't know if it's that productive. Maybe I would just ignore them, going for just pulling down mid. Maybe go for Roche if it's up again. Then again, like, this stalemate is very much to the advantage of the Dire, I feel like. The Storm and the Juggernaut are just gonna be... Storm and the Tusk certainly are just gonna be worse from this point on. You see that they can just stand inside the Magnifier now and not really care about it. It's not doing that much. Storm comes in. Very nice kill on the Slark. Very important. There's the Ravage. Can they make something happen here? They can kill the Tusk. Alright. That almost gives them a green light to try and take Rax here. But the Juggernaut's going to be up in 15. He's probably the best in this particular situation. Yeah, and there's the backdoor protection as well. I don't know if this is well. Does kill off the Venge, you know. Oh. Unfortunate blink there. Does get his refresher orb. Now he got 2 Ravages. Quite good, and because of the Sheevis, he's got plenty of mana to spend, so he's up at 1500 mana. Even with the... So it's 375 mana for the refresher orb, and then it is 650. So it's about 1000 mana for the 2 Ravages. He's still got 500 left over, plenty for the fight, so this should be good. You can do it without the Sheevis, just with mana boots, because the refresher does refresh the mana boots, but it's, you know, it's tight. It's really tight.
Has fallen to the Dire.
I think the Death Prophet should get the Aegis here. Definitely not the Tidehunter. It's between the Death Prophet and the Slark. Probably Slark. So that, I think that Sandstorm wasn't really there. I think that was just a graphic bug because the Sand King's in here. So it would be a very odd scenario in which it was still there. Fortunately, these replays have few bugs here. We see he's going for a halberd here. This is probably to disarm either the Storm or the Juggernaut. They're gonna get an isolated attack here on the Slark. He's gonna go down. Again, they're like skirmish is just horrifying on the Radiant team. Not surprised the Slark keep eating it here, but the Slark can be pretty happy about it because he's just he's suffering. He's having a bad game, but his team is gonna be doing just fine. Like these large fights are going much better for them. They do have double Ravage up. They just need the Slark and they can take a really good team fight. There's no reason at all to hurry up here. Oh well, there's the they do have the Death Prophet gets initiated on. That's quite bad. That's the double Ravage. The second one only hits the Juggernaut. He might not even die here. Blink in might be enough. Yep, there we are. Very good. Very easy 3-kill fight here. Now it's just the Jakira and the Sand King trying to kill a like 3.5 HP Death Prophet. That's not happening. These guys should have made it out way sooner. But maybe they're realizing, you know, our chance to win this is rapidly evaporating. Juggernaut is dead for 70 seconds. It's not quite enough. Maybe it's enough for the enemy team to push down mid-racks, but yeah. Tidehunter looks like he just wants to push out this lane instead, get his Heavens Halberd up. And there's not too much reason for them to kind of rush this. They do kill the Sand King. I think this is, yeah, here we see that bugged Sandstorm. And they are gonna get the backs here mid. Force out a buyback there from the Sand King. Very nice, very nice. Of course they have no Ravage now, but the Death Prophet being as tanky as she is, she can just ignore the Macropie at this point. Even the Macropie with the Sand King out there. You know, they only managed to get the Aegis there. Tide's gonna eat it to the Juggernaut only. But the Death Prophet is still alive, like Rubik steals the Juggernaut ult, but it's not as powerful on Rubik, of course. The Death Prophet can still just make it out of here. They got a pair of racks. They don't have any buyback though. That's a big mistake here from especially the Slark. I think should have had buyback. He is going for that the Skull Basher. As I mentioned, that would be my choice as well. So I like this a lot. Yeah, this is just absurdly big. Like Death Prophet, she is just super scary. Death Prophet, you know, not. I still don't think she's balanced. She's just, you know. And when you've got a character that's this good at pushing, this good at the mid game, and still at this point is, you know, can just stand up to anything but a really good hard carry. Still, like it's, I think it's rough. Like that silence is just so absurd. 6 seconds AOE silence. That's good. Like it's really good. It's just, there's nothing about this hero that's bad. Like she's got good range. She's a good laner. I think she's. I would like to see her nerfed a little bit more. She's also been played so much. Like it's kind of a case where a lot of people think that what IceFrog does is just he kind of overbuffs heroes to the point where finally they get played. That's a Tusk. Go. Easy double Ravage here, I think. Come on, Fisher. And the second one, I don't think it actually hit a non-BKB hero, but it doesn't really matter. They've already killed what they needed to. It's just a Storm left now. See what the Slark's doing. Sand King being slippery.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, they know where he is. There's no chance he's getting out. And splat. Whoa, that was a lot of gold.
Which is more than I can say.
That's a 5,000 gold, 6,000 gold swing, 6,000 gold and 8,000 experience. Quite big. We are almost an hour into the game, but this is starting to look pretty good for the Dire side. I kind of feel bad for this Juggernaut. He's been playing very well. He did get called out once, but he's got an insane amount of last hits. He's really playing his heart out here. He's gotten exactly what he needs to. And item-wise, I think he's doing pretty much everything he can. But again, Juggernaut isn't a hard carry. They kind of needed to close out the game early against this lineup, and they just weren't able to. So Heaven's Halberd was up from our Tidehunter now. He actually used it just before going to disarm the Storm. Storm, despite having kind of a caster theme, is quite reliant on strike pick damage. One of the reasons why he gets an Orchard. Slark bites the dust again here. Very capable of killing the Slark. The Slark's, you know, yeah, much more of a skirmishy hero. Doesn't really, like, he doesn't fit so well with the best plan from this team, and thus he's just getting caught out time and again. So I think Slark should maybe just look to be the second wave here, and just not be so much of a solo hero as the guy who jumps in after the Death Prophet or the Tidehunter gets initiated on. It's not really what the hero is meant for, but in this lineup that's, I think, a way that he can avoid dying and still having impact in fights. As for the Tidehunter, he's doing almost exactly what I would do in this game. I think alternatives to this halberd is probably the biggest thing. Rubik having a little bit of a laugh. But yeah, and if you don't want to go this halberd, if there isn't a right clicker you really want to disable, I guess there is maybe a blade mail would be good. Like could be good in other games. They don't have very many BKB carriers. You know, just forcing them to take a ton of damage from going in and hitting your 2.7k health. Okay, there's a Rose fight. Tusk's gonna fall off. Tidehunter waits until after the Tusk fall clears. Very nice Ravages here. Very nice, didn't lose anyone there. Only the Storm got out, and again the Storm slows Slippery. Tide just makes it out. They actually lost a courier at some point, but I missed that. This is quite a long replay in case you hadn't... yeah, it's not actually that long. The games these days just go so long. Like last patch, it wouldn't be that unusual to see a 30-minute GG, but now it's, you know, 1-hour games are practically the norm. It's actually... oh, I don't like this... He's probably going for a Crimson Guard now as his last item, but I don't like this at all. I think he should definitely go for a boost of travel first, at least. You do need a TP option. Like, you can't afford them to just allow them that split push option. But he's gonna get a Vanguard now. Vanguard, I say this every time it gets built, is a very early game focused item. It's gonna be pretty much 250 health now is what you're getting. Because the 40 damage block is doing almost nothing. Even when you finish the Crimson Guard, that's gonna do very little. So I'm not agreeing with this item choice at all. There are far more efficient items to get.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Like say a Cypher Vise would be very impactful. I don't think a Crimson Guard, unless you get it in the mid game, is that good of an
Radiant's
option.
bottom tower has fallen.
And of course, as I mentioned before, the Tidehunter does have Kraken Shield, which does not stack with stuff like Vanguard or Stout Shield or Crimson Guard. So this is literally the worst hero to get it on. A little bit of a last ditch attempt here, but they're gonna lose the second set of backs now. Almost certainly. Tide's gonna fight it. Ton! Ah, this is... I get what's happening. This is... No, it's not actually Refresher. That's probably just Rubik just throw it or something.
Radiant's middle
The Death
tower
Prophet
is
died,
under attack.
but she just lived up immediately because she had a ton of Bloodstone charges. Bloodstone is one of the best late game items, in my opinion, just because of the reduction to your respawn time is huge, if you're actually ahead, of course. One of the best snowball items as well for that reason, that you don't get any downtime if you actually die. So the Death Prophet's up and swinging again. Doesn't even have to buy back. It's basically a free buyback. You can do it like that, which is obviously quite significant. BKB doesn't really protect you from Death Prophet's damage so much. Though she does have an... even when she dies once, she still just lives up immediately. You can just... okay, let's just, you know... go right back into it. So they just killed her 2 times. She just effectively got 2 ages out of this Bloodstone. Oh well, 2 buybacks, 2 free buybacks out of it. So, but that is of course because she got a lot of kills in a row without dying. The Slark is a lot less scary though. He does have a Abyssal Blade now. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be as much of a force this game as I thought he would.
I'll take
Unfortunately,
that.
the Tidehunter, you know, he's a double ravage on legs now. I've talked about this Crimson Guard and how poor I think it is. Certainly the fact that he can't carry a TP now without dropping a really big item is kind of bad. But, you know, the Crimson Guard really not that good of a late game item. I think it should be a sheep, probably. Sheep stick. Sheep stick or maybe a heart. That's the double ravage. Pretty much enabling them to burst down the storm there. Once they got out of that. Yeah. Ty's just gonna make it out of this fight. That's, you know, he double ravages, throws out a few other spells, could use Shiver, hopes to live through the damage from the others. Some very good fights here, but, you know, very close. But when you're 3 racks ahead against this lineup, I don't think they don't have the tools to sustain like in the super late game. So unless they can take racks off this somehow, I don't think they can. But, you know, I mean, the ravages are down. The supports aren't gonna be there. They are missing the storm though. That's kind of, if they had the storm, I think they probably could. But with Death Prophet there, with the Death Prophet ulti, I think it's dubious. That is of course the Crimson Guard effect coming in. Very nice ultimate death from the Sand King. Almost enough to get them there, but of course the Juggernaut has fallen. And there's almost, even if the Jakiro lives, I don't think they'll have enough time, just because of the very low death timer from the Death Prophet. And now the Jakiro is of course dead. That is probably game. That is probably destroyed the Camel's Back. That one fight. Very, very fight intensive game here. Almost 2 deaths a minute. Looks like, isn't it? Yeah, 2 deaths a minute. That's 2 kills a minute, you could also say, if you wanna be if you're a glasses half full kind of guy, I guess. But yeah, it's
under attack.
It's pretty much.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Speak away.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, so just a bit of in-game fighting here. But the game is pretty much
Dire victory.
literally over at this point. Rich. So yeah, the Death Prophet was pretty rich. Yeah, 10,000 just in the bank. Okay, so let's talk about that. Just to summarize a little bit, I think the most interesting thing is kind of the way these games shake out. You can kind of tell, at least once you get to a certain skill level, how what needs to happen, what needs to get done here. And I think the fact that the Radiant side was unable to get enough pushing done off of one team fight. They did have some very nice team fights, mostly off the epicenter there from the Sand King, but they just weren't able to translate it into objectives fast enough. They weren't able to get a lane or 2 of racks. That's basically it. They needed a lane or 2 of racks probably before the 40-minute mark, or, you know, the Death Prophet is, and, you know, the Death Prophet and Slark and the overall team fight from the Dire side is just going to be too much. Just going to be too scary, and they weren't able to kind of get there. Some very nice item choices all around. Almost nothing I disagree with. I think the Storm is probably the one I dislike the most. I think the Dagon didn't solve the problem he really had, which is the Death Prophet. And I think an earlier Orchid, or, you know, more utility would have been the item of choice there. I think the damage should probably come from sources other than the Dagon. I think the Dagon is too early and mid-game focused. I think he didn't snowball hard enough for that to really come into play. He played very nice otherwise, and very nice ability usage. This game turned into more of an exhibition than a critique, to be honest, but that's okay sometimes. I think there was a lot of stuff to learn from it. And you know, I think it's very clear to me that the players here are acting in a way that suggests that they have the same view of the game as I had. The Dire team clustered around the Death Prophet. She was kind of the linchpin here. She you know, she couldn't die when her ultimate is up. Even in the late game, it's so much harder to fight in that. And you know, the Tidehunter just goes in, gets the double ravage done. That gives the Death Prophet time to use her abilities, gives everyone time to use their abilities. And with the assorted armor reduction they had, it just added up to so much damage. And yeah, even though the Slark died a lot, he did manage to accrue 16 kills, so he did manage to do a lot off screen, probably in small fights around the map, even though he had a pretty horrendous start. So it looked like the Radiant could have gotten it done off of the Juggernaut, having that good of a start. He sold his Midas, of course. If we are an hour into the game, he did hit 25 probably some time ago, and he needed a slot for something else, and he is pretty much 6 slotted here. Not really a lot else he could get. Yeah, he played a good game, but it just wasn't enough to quite get there. Certainly the best farmer in the game, I think, and the last hits, you know, speak to that. He did a very good job last hitting. Probably some team fighting that could have been done better. And you know, after the mid game, probably at the 40-minute mark or so, I think their best chance would have been to just split push it. They have the Jakiro is probably decent at it. It would have been hard, honestly. It would have been really hard. I think they had, you know, they had the tools to fight it through in the mid game, and then just really hard push it up the hill, and they just didn't get it done. They didn't manage to quite get there, and then it just, you know, the items accumulate on the Dire side and they die. If the Dire side played properly, and they did. They did group around the Death Prophet. They did use the double Ravages and the assorted disables from the Venge and the Rubik to just let the Death Prophet kind of have enough time to do her thing, and she was just too big to handle. They got 2 sheep sticks in, got even more control, and you know, it was just, you know, double Shivas as well. It kind of just added up, and stuff like the Dagon and, you know, the Juggernauts all just weren't quite able to get there anymore, and you know, the Epicenter, Jakiro especially, just kind of really mediocre in the late game. Yeah, so quite a good game. I think the biggest mistake from the Tidehunter still, this Crimson Guard, I think is a huge mistake. It wasn't enough to topple the game for them. I think definitely boosted travel before that. Just that TP is so much more likely to be important, and you know, you have the Shivas. You probably have enough mana to do your double Ravages, and that is the most important thing. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I am gonna be trying to gear my content over to something else other than these replay reviews, because frankly, although they generally get received well from the people I do them for, the guy who gets featured, they aren't very popular. Not a lot of people are watching these, so I'm trying to come up with other ideas, try to see if there's some type of content that will be more popular. I do want to get views, I do want to get subscribers. That is kind of the point of this thing. So yeah, if you have any suggestions or anything, please just, you know, let me know. And in any case, I hope you've enjoyed this. That's gonna be it for this time, and thank you for watching.